When I see videos and articles on magic items, it's often with titles such as 10 most powerful magic items in 5e or the 5 best magic items for a wizard character. And while I think those are fun videos and fun articles, I think there's one aspect of magic items that is even more important, and that is how fun is the magic item. Because when I give out magic items, and I love giving out magic items, and I know that my players love receiving magic items for their characters, I'm more concerned about how is this magic item gonna make the experience of playing D&D more fun for the player and the party as a whole, and of course for myself. And in this video I want to take a look at what I believe are 10 of the most fun magic items in 5e Dungeons & Dragons. Now before we dive in, I want to quickly just define what I mean by fun, because while any player will be happy to have a +1 sword or +1 armor or a magic item that gives them a flat bonus to their DC, spell save DCs or their saving throws, these items aren't really that much fun, because once you've written down that extra bonus on your sheet, it's really just a statistical increase in your character's power or output or defense, and it's not something you're going to really remember. You may even forget that you're even wearing a magic item because it's just that flat bonus on your sheet. So when I talk about fun magic items, I mean magic items that give the player characters more options in and outside of combat. If these magic items can also do so in very creative, inventive ways, or even with random effects or outcomes, I think that's even more fun. So yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at what I believe are 10 of the most fun magic items in 5e, and I should note that these are in no particular order. So the first item on my list is a Bag of Tricks. This is an uncommon magic item that doesn't require attunement. So the Bag of Tricks is a quite simple item. Basically, a character can just stick their arm into the Bag of Tricks, pull out a creature. This creature is determined at random, which I think is really fun, and the creature will act as their ally. So you can use this in combat to sort of beef out and get an ally on the battlefield. You can use it as a distraction when you're trying to sneak past the guards and you maybe pull out an elephant or something like that. In essence, this is just a really fun magic item that is not overly powerful, especially not if you go for some of the less powerful variants of the bag, and something that you can easily give out to a player in low level, which will allow them to do a lot of creative, inventive, fun stuff. So yeah, a really fun magic item. The next item on my list is an uncommon magic item that requires attunement and is also a magic item we've designed ourselves. It's the Nemesis Weapon. The Nemesis Weapon is really the definition of a double-edged sword, because when a player character hits another creature with the Nemesis Weapon, they curse that creature, but they also receive the same curse themselves. This basically gives the player character some options, some different choices it can make, but it can also quickly become a drawback, and that sort of evens out the effect and makes sure that the Nemesis Weapon isn't overly powerful, because you're gonna have to face that same consequence yourself whenever you use it. Next up we have the Deck of Illusions, which is an uncommon item that doesn't require attunement. This is quite like the Bag of Tricks, where you pull out something random. In this case you pull out a card and then you create a random illusion which you can control for a limited amount of time. There are multiple different uses for a Deck of Illusions, and then it has that random element which I really love, where you never know if you're gonna conjure up a party of guards or a troll or what have you. And I like that you can also just take a normal deck of cards and sort out the cards that doesn't need to be there, and actually have a physical prop at the table which the player can use when they're using the Deck of Illusions. The next item on our list is quite a bit more powerful, because the Ring of Spell Storing is a rare item that requires attunement. In essence, you can store a spell of up to 5th level in the ring, and then anyone attuned and wearing the ring can cast that spell using the original spellcaster's statistics when doing so. This is really fun, not only because it gives a spellcasting character an option to be more versatile, it can have more spells with it in combat, but it also gives a martial character an opportunity to cast haste on itself if it has a wizard ally that can just put that haste spell in the ring, or any other multitude of different spells. So the Ring of Spell Storing is really powerful. It's really fun, and it's something that's gonna make any player character and player excited to have. Next up is the Portal Wand, which is a rare magic item that requires attunement, and is also a new magic item that we have featured in Milando's Guide to Magical Marvels, which is of course our newest book release. And that leads us to a quick word from our sponsor, ourselves. If you want to check out Milando's Guide to Magical Marvels, which includes a ton of magic items, new monsters, and also 3 completely new arcane concepts, which include crafting hexes and curses, making dark transformations for your players, enchanting their gear and upgrading their gear with magical runes, and also wild and unstable magic that can be crafted into spell marks. Check out Milando's Guide to Magical Marvels. There will be a link to that in the description down below. All that aside, the Portal Wand is one of the more than 40 new magic items that is featured in Milando's Guide to Magical Marvels, and it's really in my opinion, a fun one, because with the portal wand you can use a bonus action to conjure up 2 portals within 30 feet of you, and anything can really move through that portal. So you can move through them, you can have allies move through them, you can even attack through them. Another fun feature of the portal wand is that it can also create an impromptu portal. You can create a portal as a reaction and perhaps force an enemy to run through it to get closer to you or further away, or even to make an attack against one of their allies as you put a portal right in front of them as they're trying to attack. In other words, there is a ton of uses for the portal wand, and it's something that can really make your players get creative on the battlefield. Next up is another wand, the Wand of Wonder, which is also a rare wand that requires attunement, and it's really just a fun item because it creates a random magical effect. There's more than 20 different effects it can produce, and when you're using it, you just pick out a target within 120 feet and you have no idea which spell you're gonna cast or what effect is gonna happen. Its power level is hard to discern because you can cast anything from a fireball to a fog cloud to doing virtually nothing at all, which means that it's very useful, or at least very fun, especially in lower levels where casting that fireball might just be a lifesaver, and getting stunned in combat is not as bad as it would be in higher levels. So really fun magic wand you can give out to your low level characters, in my opinion. Next up is the Mizzium Apparatus. This is a magic item from Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, and is also one of my personal favorites. In essence, the Mizzium Apparatus allows a character to cast a spell that is on their class's spell list, but which they don't have prepared or know at the moment. There is a catch here, because not only does it make the character more versatile, potentially more versatile, it also has a random effect where if you're unlucky, if you fail your spellcasting ability check while you use the Mizzium Apparatus, you might cast a completely random spell chosen from some tables you can roll on. And this is just very fun. One of my players in my campaign had this item for a while, and it created some really fun scenarios where you're trying to come in and catch that clutch healing spell or whatever have you, but instead you end up casting something that does the opposite of healing. Alright, then we have the Hat of Disguise. This is an uncommon magic item that requires attunement, and it is a very simple item. All it does is that it allows a character to cast Disguise Self at will, giving a player the opportunity to disguise themselves as something else. Is going to be used a whole lot. It's going to create some fun role-playing scenarios. It's going to be a huge asset for the team, and it can really be used to conjure up a lot of different shenanigans, ploys, deceptions and stuff like that. So it's an item that I love giving out to my player characters whenever we're playing, because it just makes the game more fun in role-playing scenarios. Our 9th item is the Sword of the Paruns, which is a very rare magic weapon. It's basically a +1 longsword with a bit of more fun attached, as every time the character uses the Sword of the Paruns in combat, they get to give another character a reaction they can use in combat. As I've noted in previous videos on action economy in 5e, reactions are quite often underused, so having the Sword of Paruns on the team, so to speak, in the party is going to allow other player characters to actually get something out of their reactions. In essence, the Sword of the Paruns is quite powerful, but it's also a team item, something that is going to benefit the whole team and not just a single character, which is why really the whole team is going to be happy that one of their friends is using the Sword of the Paruns in combat. The final item or items that I want to talk about is the Mythward Ring and Scepter. These are very rare magic items that require attunement, and they're also from our newest book, Milando's Guide to Magical Marvels. It's a set of items that can be used individually or together, and when they're used together, they both become more powerful. So basically, the ring can allow you to change the damage types of your spells at random, potentially, and it can also, in its more powerful form, allow you to cast 2 spells simultaneously, hitting the same target or area of effect depending on the spells, and that's something that can really create for some interesting effects and very powerful effects, it should be said. The Scepter allows the wielder to create an aura of wild magic where a lot of spells are gonna go wild when they're cast, creating wild magic effects. Milando's Guide to Magical Marvels also provides a whole table of new wild magic effects, or an enhanced wild magic effect table to roll on, and these magic effects can, they are wild and they're random, and making it so that yourself and also your allies and potentially your enemies are going to create wild magic effects. It's just going to turn the combat upside down. It's going to create for some very fun and chaotic situations. In its more powerful form, the Scepter can also allow you to counter a spell that an enemy casts and replace that spell with a wild magic effect. So once more, just getting to roll on that wild magic effect table is something that I personally believe is just a lot of fun. I love rolling wild magic effects. So yeah, whether you use them separately or together, these two magic items are, in my opinion, incredibly fun, versatile, and of course very powerful magic items. So yeah, that's my list of 10 of the most fun magic items in 5e. If you have any additions that you feel I missed, I would love to hear you in the comments down below. I'm always trying to look for more fun items to give out to the player characters when we're playing. So yeah, any suggestions you have or thoughts you have on the magic items that I've listed here, I would love to hear them in the comments down below. You'll also probably note that we are not running any mid-rolls or unskippable ads on this video, and that's definitely on purpose. We instead prefer to get our support over from patreon.com/Eventyr. So if you want to support the channel, help vote on which videos and what content we make, and also get at least 3 monthly encounters for 5e Dungeons & Dragons and access to an archive filled with adventures, encounters, monsters, magic items, all that stuff, please head over to patreon.com/Eventyr and consider becoming a patron. You'll find a link to that in the description down below. And in that vein, I also wanted to give a special shout out to our Legend tier patrons. We've had a lot of legends coming in the past months. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and what we do here. We couldn't do this without you. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot left to say, except thank you so much for watching, and I hope that I'll see you in the next video.